My name is Dianiela and I'm 28. My parents announced at Easter dinner, "We're flying the whole family to Paris for your sister's wedding in June." Everybody cheered. The room filled with excitement, glasses clinking, laughter echoing, my aunt already talking about outfits and photos by the Eiffel Tower. I smiled too. At first, it felt automatic, like I was playing my part in a script I hadn't agreed to. Then I asked them, "What date is the ceremony?" For a split second, everything slowed down. My mom didn't answer right away. She just looked at me, a small smirk forming on her lips, the kind I'd seen before, the kind that meant something was coming. Mom smirked. "You're not invited. You can stay home and watch your son." The table went quiet. Not the kind of silence where people don't hear you. The kind where they hear everything and choose not to react. I felt every pair of eyes on me, but no one said a word. My dad didn't even look up from his plate. My sister, she sipped her drink like this was normal, like I was the problem for even asking. I smiled, not because it didn't hurt, but because I wasn't going to give them the reaction they expected. Inside, though, something cracked. This wasn't just about a wedding. This was years in the making. Years of being the responsible one, the one who stepped up, who didn't complain, who made sacrifices so everyone else could shine. When I had my son at 24, suddenly I became the family's built-in babysitter. "You're already home," they'd say. "You understand responsibility." What they really meant was your life matters less. I had helped pay for things too, quietly, without making a show of it. When my dad's business struggled, I discovered more Toyota Fedora Skoke a few bills. When my sister wanted to start her dream wedding fund, I contributed because that's what family does, right? But sitting there hearing those words, "You're not invited," I realized something. I wasn't family to them. I was useful. My mom leaned back like she had just delivered a perfectly reasonable statement. "It's a destination wedding," she added casually. "It's not practical for you to come with the child." This just makes more sense. More sense for who? I looked at my sister. "You agree with this?" She shrugged. "It's not personal, Danny. It's just logistics." Logistics. That word echoed in my head like an insult. Raising my son alone. Logistics. Working extra hours to keep everything stable. Logistics. Supporting them when they needed it. Apparently, also logistics, that me wanting to be there for one of the biggest days in our family, that was inconvenient. I nodded slowly, still smiling, still calm. "Got it." And just like that, the conversation moved on without me. My aunt started asking about Paris hotels. My mom pulled out her phone to show venue pictures. My dad laughed at something my cousin said. I sat there invisible, but in that moment, something shifted inside me. A quiet realization. A line had been crossed, not loudly, not dramatically, but permanently. They thought I would just accept it, like always. They thought I would stay home, watch my son, and maybe send a gift, smile in pictures later like nothing happened. They thought wrong. Because as I sat there listening to them celebrate a wedding I wasn't allowed to attend, I started replaying everything in my mind, every favor, every dollar, every time I had stepped in to hold things together when they couldn't. And then it hit me. They weren't just excluding me. They were underestimating me. I picked up my glass, took a slow sip, and kept that same calm smile on my face. No arguments, no drama. Not tonight. But deep down, I had already made a decision. If they could cut me out that easily, then maybe it was time I stopped being the one holding everything up. And they had no idea what was coming next. I smiled and dropped the bomb, not right there at the table. No, this wasn't something I was going to waste in the middle of their celebration. They didn't deserve the drama. They deserved the realization. Slow, quiet, unavoidable. That night, after I put my son to sleep, I sat alone in my living room and opened my laptop. My hands were steady. My mind was clearer than it had been in years. No anger, no tears, just truth. For a long time, I had been the invisible foundation of my family, the one who stepped in when things got hard, the one who made it work. But what they never realized was that foundations don't just hold things up. They can also walk away. The next morning, I started making calls. First, the payments. The small ones they had forgotten about. The monthly transfers to help my dad keep his business afloat. The quiet contributions to my sister's wedding savings. The insurance bill I had been covering without ever mentioning it canceled. Every single one, then the bigger one. 3 years ago, when my dad's business nearly collapsed, he came to me not as a father, but as someone desperate. I had stepped in and invested a significant amount of my savings to keep it alive, not as a gift, not as charity, as a silent partnership. No contracts, just trust. That was my mistake. But I still had proof. Bank records, transfers, messages. I picked up my phone and sent him a simple text. We need to talk about my investment. I'll be expecting repayment terms by the end of the week. No emojis, no explanations, just reality. At first, there was silence. Then the call started. My mom, my dad, my sister, I didn't answer. Not immediately. I let them sit with it. Let them feel that same confusion, that same quiet discomfort I had felt at that dinner table. By the evening, my phone was full of messages. What is this about? Why are you acting like this, Daniela? Don't make this into something it's not. That one almost made me laugh. Don't make this into something it's not. For once, I wasn't making anything. I was just responding. Finally, I called back. My dad answered on the first ring. Daniela, what is going on? His voice wasn't angry. It was nervous. Good. I think it's pretty clear, I said calmly. You made it clear where I stand in this family. I'm just adjusting accordingly. This is about the wedding. My mom jumped in, her voice sharp in the background. You're overreacting. No, I said, this is about everything. There was a pause. I continued. You said I'm not invited, that I should stay home and watch my son. So I thought about it and I realized something. If I'm not important enough to be included, then I'm not responsible enough to keep supporting everyone either. Silence heavy. This time, you can't just pull funding like this, my dad said, his tone shifting. We rely on that. I almost smiled. Exactly. That's not my responsibility, I replied. It never was. I helped because I believed I was part of something, a family, but clearly I misunderstood. My sister finally spoke. Danny, come on, this is extreme. Is it? I asked. Softly, because excluding me from your wedding didn't seem extreme to you. That's different. No, I said. It's not. Another silence. Then I said the one thing they weren't expecting. I won't be at the wedding, but not because you didn't invite me, because I chose not to be part of something that doesn't value me. And just like that, the power shifted. They tried to argue, to guilt me, to twist it back into me being the problem. But it didn't work anymore because for the first time, I wasn't asking for their approval. I was setting my terms. Over the next few days, reality hit them hard. My dad's business started struggling again without my support. The dream wedding suddenly had budget issues. Plans had to be adjusted. Calls were made, but not to me. And that was the point. A week later, my mom called again. This time, her voice was different. Daniela, maybe we should reconsider things about the wedding. I leaned back, holding the phone, and let those words settle. Reconsider. Just like that, after everything, I could have said yes. I could have gone to Paris, worn a beautiful dress, smiled in pictures like nothing ever happened, but I didn't. Thank you, I said calmly, but I've already made my decision. I hung up before she could respond because this was never about the wedding. It was about respect. and I had finally given it to myself. So if you've ever been treated like an option, like your presence only matters when you're useful, remember this. You don't have to beg for a seat at the table. You can build your own. And sometimes the strongest move isn't fighting to stay. It's choosing to walk away. If this story hit you, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more powerful revenge stories like this.